I created Genesys Works while working as a corporate strategist for a major corporation and realizing how low-income students were just leaving school to engage into a lifetime of dead-end minimum wage jobs, while at the same time, corporations were having a hard time finding the resources they need to remain competitive. So Genesys Works was created to engage low-income students into a path to a professional career so that they may fully participate in the economic mainstream. Our hope is to bridge the gap between the business and education worlds, to connect the product of our education system with the human resources our businesses will need in America this century. This is more important today than ever before. According to our Georgetown University study, by the year 2018, two-thirds of all jobs that will be created in America will require a college degree. Yet only 15% of today's ninth graders attending major urban schools are expected to achieve a college education. 15%. What's going to happen to the other 85%? 20 years ago, many jobs that allowed a family to live in the economic mainstream didn't require a college diploma or professional skills. But today, the job market has changed, and those jobs have gone overseas, and they're not coming back. The new jobs in America will require technical and professional skills that are not part of our current education system. Schools have tried to increase rigor to better prepare students for the future, but without introducing true relevance or healthy relationships. And without that, an increase in rigor only contributes to an increase in the dropout rate. So then schools adopt a low standard where success equates to keeping the child in school. Sadly, in those situations, engaging the student in a professional career is not even contemplated. This situation is potentially catastrophic for the American economy. The good news is that change is not as hard as some people believe it is. The biggest resource we have today in education reform is widely available. It is the very people we serve. By engaging students onto a professional track and mindset, they can in turn have a positive influence on their peers by showing them what is truly possible. We will consider our mission accomplished when we are able to, in true partnership with the schools, achieve a culture throughout inner city schools in which the pursuit of a professional career becomes the given for all students. For the short term, Genesys Works is working to engage more economically disadvantaged high school students into professional career paths through intensive training and meaningful internships. Having proven that the model works, we seek to expand the reach of Genesys Works both in the cities in which we are currently engaged as well as to other major American cities. As we approach scale, we envision a future where all students go to school every day with a determination to become successful professionals, regardless of their socioeconomic background. And by doing that, we envision a full integration of business and education to engage the next generation of students onto the professional occupations that will be the key to America's future. In order to do this, we must increase awareness throughout the business and education communities. We must engage the business community at large into making the high school meaningful internship a regular part of doing business. And we must ensure that as we grow, we continue to train students to provide services corporations need and value. As Genesys Works grows to serve more students in more cities, we must ensure the quality of the program and take advantage of economies of scale to reduce the cost per student. The Genesys Works model is successful due to two main characteristics. One is our innovative win-win model, and two, our self-sustainability. Genesys Works provides intensive training to students in both technical and professional skills and engages them to work in meaningful internships. This training and opportunity exposes students to professional success that they never thought was within reach. This is the win for our students. Now, for corporations, they win by having a motivated, reliable, and flexible workforce at highly competitive rates. Our corporate partners see that they can actually affect real change through their philanthropy while also affecting real change to their bottom line. Our other critical leverage point comes from our self-sustainability. Businesses value the services our students provide and therefore are willing to pay for those services. Therefore, we are largely self-sustained as a result of that earned income we receive from corporations. This income accounts for over 80% of all operating expenses for each site, and due to economies of scale, self-sustainability increases as the site grows and matures. Schools like this model because it helps them achieve the outcomes they need and the culture they desire without taking financial resources away. And corporations like it because even though the earned income covers a great portion of our operating expenses, it still represents cost savings to them versus what they would have to pay a for-profit provider. Genesys Works is effective due to our unique win-win value proposition and our values-driven culture. Our organization attracts accomplished leaders and staff members who see working at Genesys Works as a life-changing opportunity for the students it serves, while not getting away from the business practices and mindset they know and are comfortable with. Our employees have switched their thinking about what a nonprofit can be. They understand that we are not a traditional charity, but instead we are an innovative solution for education, business, and philanthropy. We are also effective because we serve as a bridge between business and education. Businesses have wanted to engage with education but have had a hard time doing so in a meaningful way, partially because they have very different cultures. Put simply, the education and business communities speak in different languages. Genesys Works has been effective because we are indeed bilingual. We are able to interact with each group in a uniquely different way, meeting the needs for each differently, and therefore serving as that perfect bridge. Our model has also reached a high level of effectiveness through a continuous improvement culture over the last decade. Genesys Works takes pride in being a learning organization, continuously measuring, analyzing, and improving what we do. It is this mindset that has allowed the organization to grow at an average rate of 50% annually for the last several years. There are two kinds of metrics of success at Genesys Works. One is student outcomes, and the second one is internal operational performance. For student outcomes, we currently measure college enrollment and persistence compared to that of similar students who were not part of Genesys Works. Traditionally, over 95% of our graduates go on to college, and 73% of all of our graduates are either still pursuing their degree or have completed it. This rate is about twice that of the comparison groups. For internal metrics of success, we utilize what we call the measurement framework. That includes factors related to student success, retention, corporate client satisfaction, financial performance, staff engagement, and many other metrics. The success is clear. In spite of the challenging economic conditions, Genesys Works continues to grow thanks to an increasing awareness of our program, the demand for our students, and the continuous recognition by our client companies of the real value that students bring to their workplaces every day. Genesys Works is breaking the paradigm of the high school internship. Traditionally, high school internships engage students on low-level work that requires limited preparation for the student and provides, frankly, marginal value to the workplace. In reality, they are missing the potential opportunity that a more meaningful engagement would present to both the corporation and the student. A low-level clerical internship does not challenge the student, and in fact, it can further reinforce how limited he or she is to truly be successful as a professional. At the same time, work supervisors need to find busy work for students to do, which is not always easy. Not with Genesys Works. Our students are not interns in the traditional sense. They are well-trained young professionals who are prepared to enter the workforce. Genesys Works provides them with intensive training in both technical and professional skills. And these skills are not only required to provide real value at the workplace, but they are literally changing the mindset of low-income students and engaging them into a professional career. Our corporate partners are highly encouraged to demand a high level of performance from students, which is exactly why the students developed and go through a total transformation during the program. Starting the organization in 2002 and breaking the paradigm of the traditional high school internship was a major accomplishment because it required schools, businesses, philanthropists, and staff members to all come together at the same time and believe that the model could work and provide a much better future for students. Since then, Genesys Works has grown at an average rate of over 50% per year. In fact, from 2008 through 2011, during the greatest recession since the Great Depression, Genesys Works tripled in size. And this growth has been achieved while maintaining the high level of student outcomes and impact. The model is now viewed as an example of an innovative social enterprise around the country. In fact, when the White House launched the Office of Social Innovation, President Obama highlighted Genesys Works as an example of a results-driven organization that must be replicated throughout America. The growth of Genesys Works is not limited by our ability to just train students, but instead by how many we can engage into meaningful internships. See, before companies actually experience having a young professional in their workplace, they may perceive the engagement as risky, maybe even perhaps due to past experiences with traditional high school internships. It generally requires the active involvement of a top executive in the company before we can truly engage. Now, once we engage, things are good. A testament that defies this notion of risk is that over 90% of our clients re-engage with us year after year. Growth is restricted to our ability to raise awareness in the business community at large and connect directly with decision makers in each of the companies. A second challenge is with the size of company that can effectively utilize our students. Typically, the internships in which our young professionals can add value are in medium or large corporations. A small-sized firm, for example, could only really utilize 1 or 2 of our students, whereas our large clients can engage more than 15 students. So the way we will achieve the scale we envision is by engaging a much greater number of companies and by expanding the number of students in each of them. In order to do this, we need to raise awareness in a way we have not done before. With additional resources, we would raise awareness in the business and education communities in order to serve thousands more students. We would invest in more programs that work with younger generations, exposing them to possible options for their future before they drop out of high school. We would train more of the counselors and the teachers about the realities of what students can achieve and some of our methods for raising performance. We would improve our measurement and evaluation to continue to perfect our model and achieve greater efficiencies and impact. And we would invest to establish Genesys Works in more cities and provide them enough resources to allow them to achieve an 80% self-sustainability within 3 years of operation. We are indeed proud of our accomplishments to date. But when I hear the statistics coming out of our urban public education systems and about our new economy, I am reminded of how much work there is yet to be done. When I stop and think that 2/3 of all jobs that will be created in America will require a college education, and yet only 15% of the youth in our inner cities are expected to have a degree, I'm concerned. Offering students a successful future in college and beyond requires involvement at multiple levels, not just high school, but also reaching down into the middle school. Studies have shown that if a person discovers their passion at an early age, then it will be easier for him or her to choose a profession, to fulfill their potential, to think about the future more seriously, and to be prepared when the time comes. Genesys Works is the starting line for a race to the future. It helps students break out of the cycle of poverty and into the corporate world. For most students from economically disadvantaged homes, the biggest obstacle to achieving success is not the lack of opportunity, but actually the lack of knowledge about the opportunities that actually do exist. Our ultimate goal is for no student to ever question the need for an education, but to know that they have the ability to define the path that will lead to a professional career and a future they could have never dreamed would be possible.